What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. This story's called Deciding Which Drum Kit I Should Get, Got Confused for an Employee of the Music Store. This was a little while ago, so I'll be paraphrasing what was said, but I'll try my best to make it as accurate as possible. In the area I live in, there's probably 2 or 3 main music shops I know of, and 2 of which are in the same city, a few streets from each other. This particular store I went to has no uniform, but some form of ID. I think it was an ID card around their neck, but I haven't been there in a while, so I can't remember. Haha, my butt. At this time, I had been playing drums in school for about 6 months and decided I want to buy a drum kit for my house. This shop had the best prices, yada yada yada, so I decided to go there. As soon as I went in, I spotted a mother and a father with a small kid, probably 3 or 4, walking about. I went up to an employee and asked for recommendations and, funny enough, gave me a recommendation. I hadn't been on an electric drum kit before, but he was listing all the pros to them and the cons, and after plugging headphones in, he let me play and see how I felt. I'm a big guy. At the time, I was 17 and I was going to the gym a lot. I was probably a little over 100 kilograms at this time, but it was a mix of fat and muscle. One of the pros of this drum kit was that everything was movable, so anyone can play and not feel cramped. Very useful for me. About 2 minutes in, I saw the mother, clearly the alpha of the family, marching toward me. I paid no attention. I was looking for a kit and maybe they were just on their way over here too. She stopped a meter away from me, crossed her arms and tapped her foot. I stopped playing, took one headphone off, and the following conversation happened. Hello? Where would be the best guitars be? I'm not actually sure. You don't know? How would an employee not know? I don't work here. She seemed unfazed by this info. Get me your manager, now. This is unacceptable behavior and a bad way of treating a customer. I just stared at her, almost dumbfounded at how she mistakes me for an employee. Sure, they had no uniform, but I wasn't wearing anything to ID myself as an employee. I'm pretty sure the dad knew I wasn't an employee, but was too afraid to even challenge his alpha. I should also point out, I look much older than I am. I am also rather hairy and have a badly kept beard. I do not work here. Do not lie to me. I know you work here and I'll have you fired for this. I know the owner. I clearly displayed on my face my amusement. I started smiling, trying to control my laughter. Big mistake. She starts screeching at the top of her lungs, shouting and pointing at me, shouting about how I'm done and that I'm a bad employee. Actual employees came to calm the situation down a bit. I just sat back down and kept playing, and she kept shouting that I should be fired. She was eventually calmed down and taken to a separate part of the store. Now, I thought this is where it ends, that I had a funny story to tell my friends and a memory to laugh at, but no. I decided to not get this version of the drum kit, but get a more advanced, upgraded version which they didn't have in stock. The other store, a few streets away, did, so I quickly walked there, asked for assistance, and the same general process as before happened. I sat down, and as I was putting the headphones on, she walks in, demanding to see the guitar section, and to my luck, it was right beside me. I played as normal, testing out the features and feeling the way it plays. The dad lifts a guitar, despite it saying to ask for an employee to help, and hands it to the son, who instantly drops it. In my attempt not to laugh, I fake coughed and looked away, but she had heard. She turns on her heels and, "Do you know how rude? Why are you here?" I don't work here either. I did as any normal, sane person would do, assume it's a coincidence and move on. She, following the path of being senile, assumed I was obviously following her and harassing her. "You followed us here!" I was here first. This clearly didn't matter as she called for security. 2 guys smaller than me came over and asked if there was a problem, and before I could open my mouth, she said, "Yes, he is stalking and harassing my family and threatened to assault me," smirking and smugly looking at me. At this point, I realized it could get serious. I stood up and said, "Check the security footage." I came in here first and didn't even talk to her. She approached me. The two guys, knowing I had come in first, said to her it'll be investigated. She was having none of this. As expected, screaming, shouting, and flailing ensued. I turned to one of the guys and explained what had happened at the other store, and he brought me away and sorted me out with the drum kit. In short, disregard that woman. Accusing a large built teen of threatening to assault could have went completely south and gotten me in serious trouble, but thankfully nothing came from it. I didn't believe people like this actually existed, but now I feel sorry for those who have to deal with them on a daily basis. Brofist to all those who deal with crazies every day. Man, it's been a while since anyone said brofist. Who remembers those days of 2013 PewDiePie ending every video with a brofist? Man, I remember when he was first coming up. I knew him when he was around like 100, 200,000 subscribers, but then I actually subscribed when he was at like 800,000. Man, those were the freaking days. I would watch his corpse party walkthrough and sip this big freaking huge bottle of Arnold Palmer because we had the Arnold Palmer Arizona mix in a big container, and so I just make a whole bunch and sip it from the bottle while I watched Corpse Party. That was a freaking fun time in my life. Anyways, the story. Yeah, that woman's crazy, and that could have ended horribly, but thank God for security cameras because, you know, proof. This story's called, "Lady, just because I have a giant ring of keys does not mean that I can let you into just anywhere." So this is one of my friend's stories, but he doesn't use Reddit, but I do have permission to post, so here we go. My friend, who we will call Robbie for this story, came down with a terrible chest infection, was almost coughing up a lung and all that. He got tested if you're worried about more serious things. His results came back with just a chest infection. From experience, I know these are not fun. You wake up with your nose all stuffed up, and no matter how much you blow your nose, unless you get antibiotics, it's not getting any better usually. So Robbie gets his prescription from the doctor, but it's late, 8 p.m. at night. Most pharmacies in the area are closed, so Robbie decides he'll go tomorrow before his shift at local store in our city. He works the opening shift, so he arrives early to unlock things for others. Naturally, he has a key ring to carry all his keys on, both the keys to unlock the doors at his job and the ones in his everyday life. House key, garage key, bike lock key, mailbox key, and 3 separate keys for his work. One for the front door, back door, and storage room. Robbie gets up early the next morning at 7 a.m. The pharmacy opens at 8 a.m. He has breakfast and arrives half an hour early because he likes being early, and sometimes it can take a bit of time to get a prescription filled. He sits in his car because it's cold. Winter in my country is hell. At 7:45, he gets out and goes to stand by the doors. This is when Karen appears. Here's the cast: Robbie, Karen, and pharmacy employee. Robbie's keys are hanging off one of the belt loops on his pants, so they are clearly visible for context. "Can you open the doors?" "What? No, sorry." "What do you mean no? It's cold." Robbie is confused as hell as to why this lady thinks he can open the pharmacy doors. "It's not open. You have to wait." "Why can't you open it? That's why you're here, isn't it? To open the store and work?" He realizes what's going on. "Lady, I don't work here. My keys won't work on the locks." "You're just being lazy, leaving everything to the last possible second, procrastinator, lazy-ass teen." Robbie is 23, not a teen, clearly. "My keys are not made for these locks. I do not work here, and I am not going to shove my key into them just to prove it to you. If you're this stupid, you might need to get your brain checked." "Give me the keys. I'll show you how easy it is. Come on." She shakes her hand at him, expecting him to give up the keys. For obvious reasons, like the company he actually works at, security, and the trouble he'd get in for the stolen keys, as well as security of his own property, even though it would be hard to find both of these with just keys. "No way, lady." "Then open the door and let me in." "I told you I can't. I don't work here, therefore I cannot unlock the door." He's coughing in between all this and sniffling. I was surprised the lady wasn't scared off by this in the first place, or picking up that maybe he was there to get a prescription early. Pharmacy employee shows up on the inside of the pharmacy doors to unlock them. Must have entered through the back. She pushes the door open and greets them. "Good morning." I would like him fired. Pharmacy employee looks very confused, of course. He didn't open the door. He made me stand out there in the cold. Her car was literally 5 meters from the door. If she was so cold, she could have stayed in there. Why would he open the door? That's his job. He doesn't work here, ma'am. I'm opening shift. It's my job to open it by 8 a.m. If I'm not mistaken, I'm 5 minutes early. Customer shouldn't be left standing in the cold. Our hours are stated on the side. If I wanted to, I could close and lock the store and have you wait 5 more minutes. You have a car, it won't kill you to stay in it. She might have been going to say things about fumes and gas as such before he continued. If you're here to fill a prescription, I can help you. If you are here to purchase items and tickets, you will have to wait for the other employee who has the key to the ticket stash. And what do you know? She wanted to buy lottery tickets. She wasn't dying to buy a prescription or even buy food. She just wanted a lottery ticket she could have gone to a 24/7 gas station to get. She stopped off after about 10 minutes of waiting for the second employee to arrive. Now, while the employee was late, I was pretty sure pharmacy employee was texting them because they kept looking at their phone and smirking back at Karen, and as soon as Karen pulled out of the parking lot, guess who pulled in? Ticket counter employee with the key. Robbie got his prescription filled and went off to work. Thanks for reading. Goodness gracious, when I worked at a hotel, when we'd have railroad workers, a lot of the time they'd come super early for breakfast, because that's either when their day starts or like it ends really late or early. Gosh, the most hectic situations I've ever had were at that hotel because, you know, they would be coming in for breakfast and then other times they'd be checking in, and so like I'd have like 5, 6, 7 people, 8 people to check in from the railroad, and then a bunch of others are showing up for breakfast, and it's like they're asking me to get breakfast ready. I'm like, yo, I gotta check these people in, and then when it's time to actually get the breakfast ready, they're all sitting out there and I have to watch the desk and I have to freaking check people in because they kept coming, and I have to make an ungodly amount of breakfast because we usually never have this many people at one time for breakfast, and you have no idea the amount of stress I have. Oh gosh, like we'd run out of eggs or bacon or sausage and they would never let us hear the end of it. They would just be like, oh, I'm paying so much money for this, and first of all, no, you're not. The company's paying for it, dude. And if you want to go to freaking $10 a night crap hole roach infested hotel, then go right ahead, buddy, because you're at a really nice hotel and I'm working my butt off to make you breakfast, and you're early, by the way, and you guys are freaking hopping down my throats like a freaking person that does that type of thing. This story's called Show Some Respect. I was witness to a fast and, oh damn, I don't work here lady. This just happened and now I'm speed typing on my phone before I got to get back to work, so please forgive bad spelling grammar. I was enjoying a lunch at a popular fast food outlet. This particular outlet only sells drinks in cups, no cans or bottles. I walked in. It was before the lunch rush, so there was only one person eating. It was a teenage boy. He was probably 17 or 18, maybe even 20. I'll call him Hero. So I order my lunch, get my food, and go sit down. As I passed Hero, he lifted his head and made eye contact, so as per Australian outback culture. I gave the good A nod of acknowledgement and got it back in kind. So, I'm enjoying my greasy fast food when a lady walks in. She looks like Mrs. Trunchbull from Matilda, except 3 times the size, and looked as if she hadn't showered this side of 2010. I kid you not, she was a real piece of work, and once she spoke, I knew she was as ugly on the inside as she was on the outside. Give me 2 burgers, extra meat, no lettuce, 2 large fries, extra salt, and a large Coke. Real Coke, not that watered-down, sugar-free crap you sell. Make sure the chips are freaking full. And because I'm not getting lettuce, you better not charge me for extra meat. Service, probably having dealt with her before, reads the order back. That is what I said. Come on, hurry up. Trunchbull pays, gets her food, and goes to the closest seat she can fit in. She religiously organized the food on the table, opening both burgers, taking lid off cup, tipping her fries onto the burger paper. It was at this point Hero got up, grabbed his tray with his rubbish and drink, which clearly was untouched. He was walking towards the bin when it happened. He stops and looks at her. Yes? Trunchbull, without saying a word, clicks and points at her tray. Sorry, ma'am, I don't work here. Trunchbull giving the, I'll get you fired look. You're taking that man's rubbish, pointing at me, to the bin, so do your bloody job and take my tray. I'm confused, as he didn't take my tray or rubbish. "What? This is my rubbish that I'm taking to the bin because I'm not lazy. Now, if you don't mind, leave me alone." And he goes to turn away. Trunchbull picked up her tray and shoved it on top of Hero's tray, knocking over his drink and making a mess. "Whatever, lady? This is a new shirt, and you spilled my drink."
Well, you deserve it. Regardless if you're a lazy employee or a bastard child, you should respect your elders and take my tray.
Hero, dripping wet. "Well, as I don't work here, I must be a bastard child. As a bastard, I got no problem telling a cow that respect is earned and not given. The only respect you're getting is the respect you have shown me." With that, he threw both trays towards her, knocking her drink across the table, soaking her burgers and fries before spilling onto her lap. She screamed. Management runs over to assess the situation. To speed over the encounter, Trunchbull plays the victim and tried to lie, blaming Hero. Hero explained what actually happened. I backed Hero up. Management banned Trunchbull from the store, saying this isn't the first time she has antagonized customers. She left on her mobility scooter before police arrived. I got a $20 store credit, Hero got a $50 store credit, and an apology from manager. On my way back to the office, I saw Trunchbull standing next to a police car crying. Oh, how good it feels to witness karma. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.